Good evening, everyone. Those of you who are out and about, and those of you who are here in the audience. My name is Vernoka Michael. I'm the former executive director of the West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance and the current vice president of the board. It is my pleasure to be a part also of the Community Advisory Board of the Netter Center. And as such, I'd like to welcome you on the part of both organizations, WPCA and also the Netter Center. At this time, I would like to introduce to you a person that I've grown very fond of. Margaret Livingston is a former educator. She's a lifelong resident of West Philadelphia and a member of one of the first families of West Philadelphia. And when I say first families, I go back with her mother and father. So you know how old I am, probably. So you know that I knew some of the people back when. She is the president of Walnut Hill Association and block captain. And I want to say that she is block captain for Livingston Way. That is an avenue named for her mother and father. She's a board member of the University City District, the West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance, the Paul Robeson House and Museum, as well as serving on the board of the Community Advisory for the University of Pennsylvania, the Netter Center for Partnership. Margaret is still in many of the schools here in the West Philadelphia area, working with the children and administrators almost every day. She just loves her community. She was this year's recipient of the University of Penn and the Hospital of the University of Penn's Women of Color Award. And she has done an outstanding job in really gathering us as individuals in this community together to make sure that we are active and doing things for this community. So without further ado, I introduce to you Margaret Livingston.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Vernoka, for that wonderful introduction of myself. And I am so honored to be the moderator and to introduce everyone, Janice Sykes-Ross and Dr. Ira Harkavy. But before we have our conversation with both of them, I would like for us to begin with a video showing exactly what the Netter Center is all about. So at this time, the video, please. Okay, thank you.
Wow.
So that video was just a short little insight of what the Netter Center is all about. But before we delve into that, I first want to give you a little bio on both of our guests that I'm going to be moderating today. I'm going to first start with Janice Sykes-Ross. Janice Sykes-Ross received her BA from Trenton State College in Trenton, New Jersey, where she majored in English. She began her hospitality career in Princeton, New Jersey, as the Director of Sales and Marketing. It was there that she was first introduced to the life and legacy of Paul L. Robeson, Esquire. She then moved to the Philadelphia area with the Hyatt Hotel Corporation to work in the hospitality industry. She utilized her many skills acquired working in the corporate sector and also receiving certification in nonprofit management from Drexel University to transition working in the nonprofit arena in 2015. She has been a leader for organizations like People for People / The View, the historic Belmont Mansion, and is currently serving as Executive Director of the West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance Paul Robeson House and Museum. Thank you for joining us today, Janice Sykes.
Thank you, Margaret.
The next introduction is for Dr. Ira Harkavy. Ira Harkavy is the founding director of the Barbara and Edward Netter Center for Community Partnerships at the University of Pennsylvania. He teaches in history, urban studies, and Africana studies, as well as in the Graduate School of Education. As Netter Center Director since 1992, Ira Harkavy has helped to develop academically based community service courses as well as participatory action research projects with Penn's local community of West Philadelphia. Ira Harkavy is chair of the International Consortium of Higher Education, the Civic Responsibility of Democracy, chair of the Anchor Institutions Task Force, chair of the Paul Robeson House and Museum Board, founder and member of the Philadelphia Higher Education Network for Neighborhood Development Steering Committee, and founder and chair emeritus of the Coalition for Community Schools. He has co-authored and co-edited 11 books. Ira Harkavy received his bachelor's, master's, and doctorate in history from the University of Pennsylvania. Welcome, Dr. Ira Harkavy. So for our viewers that are listening, that are streaming in, and for our viewers that are here, I'm going to start with you, Dr. Harkavy. Tell the viewers and the listeners exactly what is the Netter Center?
Thank you, Margaret. That's a great question. And before answering it, let me just say thank you. I want to say thank you for the Paul Robeson House and Museum for this incredible affair this evening. I want to thank also the boards of both the Paul Robeson House and Museum and the Community Advisory Board of Netter. None of this event couldn't have happened and none of the work could have occurred. So I just want to give applause for Janice and the Paul Robeson House and Museum for hosting us and the board of the Community Advisory Board of the Netter Center. So the Netter Center's work comes out of a very simple proposition, and that's the proposition is that we're better together. The idea essentially is that universities and their communities need to be intertwined, and they need to be intertwined where they work together for mutual change. But the idea is that it isn't that Penn or any institution of higher education does this work because they have something to give. We have something to give together. And we do it in Netter Center through really 5 primary ways. One is something you mentioned, academically based community service courses. And those are courses, regular credit-bearing courses in which students learn by working with the community and solving problems. And at the Paul Robeson House and Museum, there has been a course that now is 10 and a half years old, an August Wilson course that a professor of English teaches, Herman Beavers, in which they do the cycle of August Wilson, not about Pittsburgh, but about Philadelphia and West Philadelphia. So that's academically based community service course. The other idea is university-assisted community schools. And that's the idea that schools are centers of neighborhoods. They should engage the entire population. Students should learn by working and learning in that community. And Penn comes in as a partner and brings in its academic work, including things like the Paul Robeson course that is here, the August Wilson course, courses in learning neuroscience by teaching neuroscience, and everybody benefits. And those schools bring in volunteer resources. So in West Philadelphia, we work with about 4,000 students and their families at 8 university-assisted community schools and bring in 3,700 or so Penn undergraduates working and graduate students working together in this community in 8 schools, a partnership working together to make a difference. And then the third activity is we work with community organizations. We work with places like the Paul Robeson House Museum. We work with, do a nonprofit institute, and I saw some friends here who went through that institute. We work with community organizations to improve their capacity and ability, and we also take that work and we share it, because you can't bring about change in one place alone. West Philadelphia is the model, but we want this type of partnership all over the world, and we share it locally, that Philadelphia Higher Education Group, nationally and around the globe. So that's what that
That's
is.
great, and just think it's starting right here.
Right here in West Philadelphia.
And it's going to spread, really.
It is
So
spreading.
thank you for that, Ira. So Janice, let me ask you, from your perspective, how did the relationship come about?
So, of course, this relationship started long before I came.
Right.
So, I'm told that the relationship started actually back in 1984 with our founder, Francis P. Austin. And we can't have a discussion tonight.
That's right.
We can't talk about the Paul Robeson House and West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance without talking about Francis P. Austin, who was a librarian. And so Ira and Fran, you know, started this relationship, I think, before the organizations even kind of came about. And a lot of people say to me, what is West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance?
Right.
And the West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance, even though it started in 1984, it really started to build momentum and really take shape for what it was going to be in 1985 during the MOVE bombing. So, and even if you were not from Philadelphia, as I wasn't, everybody around the world heard about the MOVE bombing.
Right.
And what Frances Austin did is she, along with Ira, is they got together with 50 community organizations and said, we are going to do a week-long arts festival. We're going to take some of the heat. We're going to calm the city down because it was about to erupt. And so during that week-long festival, there was artists out, there were musicians like we're having here tonight. And so it really started to take shape as to was going to be the mission of West Philadelphia Cultural Alliance. We're going to use the philosophy of Paul Leroy Robeson, and we're going to use art and artistic forms to fight social injustice and to bring about change.
That's great, yes. Any of us living and growing up during the MOVE bombing, that impacted all of us.
Yeah.
It really did. So Ira, then let me ask you, how did the Netter Center respond to the MOVE bombing?
Right. Well, that's a great question. And before answering that one about MOVE, I want to touch on the relationship with Frances Austin. So it has to be understood that we had a course, an academically based community service course, and we're reaching out to get partners. And she came to us and said, I want to bring together the arts and cultural organization. It was her initiative. She was the first partner we had pre-Netter Center. We were just beginning this work in 1984. And although I may have helped a little bit with that festival, that was Fran and Ira in the backdrop, and not doing just being there. But she reached out and she served as the model and this activity. And in 1985, when we were all devastated by what was happening, we were going to have a project in 5 West Philadelphia neighborhoods with 10 youth coming out of that same academically based community service course, working in 5 neighborhoods, 10 students each, to improve youth corps, to help young people get jobs. And when the MOVE fire happened, my colleagues and I turned to the city and turned to West Philadelphia community, and every young person affected by the fire that summer came in to our program. So we had 60 young people from living in the area of 60th and Osage Avenue and West, going into that organization. And when we began that work together, what began to happen is we suddenly saw how by bringing people, young people together around the school is the hub of changing the neighborhood. The adults and children came together, and we began to work by improving the neighborhood with the community. I'll just tell one quick story. All of you remember how terribly difficult that time was. And the St. Carthage Church, which is no longer St. Carthage, Father Diamond, had a program. And the young people gave Christmas wreaths and Christmas baskets that they made for the community. And the community indicated this was the kind of partnership they wanted to have. And that idea spread throughout West Philadelphia. And that's how we began. And we kept working with the Paul Robeson House Museum, WPCA at the time, and continued that work together.
That's great. So kudos to Fran Austin for initiating
Absolutely.
that.
Clap for
Really,
Fran.
really.
And for Vanoka for carrying on.
And for
That's right.
Vanoka carrying it on.
That's right.
So we have to give clap to
Yeah.
Vanoka Michael too. Yes. So I'm going to continue on with you, Ira. What has been the benefit for Robeson, the community, and for the university, and other partners?
Sure. So the benefit, first of all, for Paul Robeson House, I'll leave it to my colleagues to say what that is. And one thing I do want to also note is that we really have been blessed with 3 extraordinary leaders. The 3 women who've led this organization have been extraordinary. And one of the benefits we've had just on working together is how much we learn by working with the community. So for the university needs a lot of change. All the knowledge does not exist there. The only way to have knowledge is to do it together.
Right.
The idea that we need a community of experts. And one of the things that's happened at Penn is our students are better students for this. They do better work. They write better papers, and they become better citizens. They know what it means. They learn how the power of diversity. Students could be very sheltered. And working with people who are different from them, who have such extraordinary skills and abilities, has a transformative impact. So that's on Penn. I think on the community and the schools we work with, the benefit is that the university just doesn't provide, as I said, resources, but together we could do great things. So at Paul Robeson High School, there's a science courses there. First of all, the school district measures how students are doing in science. And the science coordinator will tell you the reason that Paul Robeson School 2 years in a row had the greatest increase in biology is because of the work of Penn students and faculty with ABCS courses learning biology by teaching it. So one of the results has been improvement in student learning. And finally, I think what's happened is we exemplify the way together to make a better community, better city, better country, and better world. By bringing people of different backgrounds together and sharing and working and learning together, we're able to improve learning at Penn, the quality of life in the community, the quality of learning in the schools, and really indicate that West Philadelphia is an exemplar of the kind of partnership this community and, in fact, the United States and every society in the world needs at this time.
That's great. So before I even ask Janice the question, why don't you tell our viewers just how many faculty members and students are involved right now with the Netter
And
Center?
I'll try to get the numbers right, because I think I got them wrong before. That was a good question.
Because the faculty members are really stepping up and wanting to get involved.
We have currently on the books over 200 academically based community service courses. We have, in the past years, about 78 courses every given year, and they're taught by faculty members. I want to get this right now. We have 1,800 students taking academically based community service courses. We have, with that, volunteers, student interns, and work-study students, which is about team another 1,200 or so. So we're close to about 4,000, is that about right? Students working in West Philadelphia schools and neighborhoods. I may be a little high, and they can tell me, but it's not too much higher than, so that's about, I'm getting thumbs up, I got it right, thank goodness. So about 4,000, and largely working in West Philadelphia, primarily with the schools, but also with outstanding community organizations and communities of faith, which I left out, which is another major part of the Netter Center's work.
That's great, and it's all about partnerships.
All
So
about partnerships.
That's great, Ira. So I'll ask you, Janice, the same question.
About the benefit.
Yes, the benefit for Robeson, the community.
So I'll start with a little story that I'm going to share. So I came on board a year and a half ago. I actually started the job in the middle of a pandemic. Who does that, right? But Janice did it because Ms. Vinoka was like, I'm going out, you're going to come in. So when I came, I was handed the bylaws, and I started to read them and go through them. And in the bylaws, it talks about these 50 community organizations. It talks about in our mission that we are supposed to connect with the university and have these relationships. So all of a sudden, my phone is ringing, and I'm getting all of these calls from the University of Penn. And I'm like, okay, I've got a call from the preservation department. I got a call from Saks. I got a call from, and I'm like overwhelmed, right? Because first of all, it's a new job in the middle of a pandemic. I did mention that, right? And so when I was talking to Ira said, no, we're not going to do it that way. I'm going to call John. We're going to get everyone together all at once on a Zoom call, and we're going to allow them to introduce themselves to you, and you are going to be introduced to them. And that's how we're going to do it.
Great.
We're not going to be calling her one-on-one. So I just want to thank you very much for Ira. So I will say that even in the beginning of that relationship, I felt like here is somebody who is not only has my back, but is really going to understand what my needs are and where I am. And I think that's what the Netter Center does. Typically, when you have the community engagement organization, sometimes they want to come in and they want to tell the community what they need.
Right.
And it's like, I'm in the community. Let me tell you what I need, and then see if you can assist me with that. And that is exactly what the Netter Center did. We talked about resources that we needed for the house. At the time, I was the only staff person. So I'm answering the phone, I'm giving tours. Vinoka was like, oh yeah, I did this all the time. You'll be okay. But we, Ira and his team and the Netter Center said, what do you need, Janice? I said, I could really use some interns. I could really use some help with just helping me with the administrative. And then I got introduced to the August Wilson class. And that community outreach was great because it is a class, if you know, where community members can actually go on Penn's campus, you can attend the class, and it's actually putting on a play about August Wilson. So that was very engaging to me and allowed, again, to foster this relationship. Then, of course, the board engagement, and then working with other nonprofit community organizations like Walnut Hill Association, but also through the Netter Center and the Saks scholarship program, we're able to now have a youth docent program that is going to be started. And that was a dream of Fran Austin, to have a youth docent program. So we can start to introduce the idea of museum study, the idea of archivism, the idea of archival history preservation to younger, preferably Black youth. And so, again,
Thank you.
that's what a relationship can do.
That's right. That's great. And one thing I should say is there's two things just quickly. One is that one of the things we benefit is we know about Paul Robeson. I knew about him, but the students at Penn don't know about him. The students at Robeson High School now know about Paul Robeson. That school is named after Paul Robeson.
Yeah.
So know about his signal contributions, standing for social justice, equality, anti-racism, peace, democracy, these issues and what that means. And one thing I should note about how everyone's better together, the award of the Faculty Community Partnership Award was given to the Netter Center and to Fran Austin and Vinoka in terms of the meaning of this partnership, that the professor won that award with the community, and the first winners were Herman Beavers and the Paul Robeson House Museum. That's a sign of only with our partnership would that have happened.
That's great. I don't know how you two do it. There are 24 hours in a day. You guys work past 24 hours in a day, so hats off to both of you. But what would you recommend this type of relationship to other communities, to other nonprofits? What is your vision for the future? What is the Netter Center's vision for the future?
Well, you know, as you know, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary.
Right.
So a few key words, and I'll talk about the vision for elsewhere. The vision is we want to do more of the work. We want to do more of it. We want to do more of the work. We want to do the work better than we've ever done it before. We want to do a better job than we've done. We want to do more in West Philadelphia. We want to be more effective with our community and with our schools and our partners. We want to do it not only more and better, but we want to build it in so it's permanent and it's part of something that is ongoing. And we want to be an exemplar for schools and communities all over the United States and around the world. So that's our goal. And what I would tell others to do, it's only going to be through these partnerships that you're going to make the transformative change that's so deeply required to deal with the problems in our communities and so deeply required for universities to realize their mission. You know, Benjamin Franklin founded Penn, and he said the purpose of Penn was to develop in young people an inclination that's moral, joined with an ability to serve, intellectual. You can't develop an inclination and ability to serve unless you work with your community to make a difference. So that's what we're going to try to do.
That's great. And I'm sorry, I'm going to call you Vernoka. Janice.
That's okay. I've been called.
Okay.
Vernoka.
And what is your vision for the future for the Paul Robeson House and the community?
That's a great question. You know, I go to bed at night thinking about that, and I wake up in the morning. My assistant Azure and I talk about it. We're supposed to be out off the clock, and we're still talking about the vision. First of all, I would say surround yourself with young people.
Yes.
They will propel you into the
That's
future,
right.
whether you want to go or not. And because their minds are so innovative. Another thing I wanted to just mention also, talking about an intern, we, through Faustine and your, my association with the Netter Center and the staff there, we were able to get Sophia Weslar. Sophia is amazing. And she, yes, claps for Sophia.
Yeah.
I know she's out there, she can hear us. She, through research, determination, she put together the Robeson Alliance, which really, again, was a vision of Vinoka, was a vision of Fran. The Alliance are Robeson entities all over, not only the US, but Robeson entities all over the country. Because as we know, Robeson was global. And so we have, at our last Robeson Alliance meeting, and Sophia runs the meeting. I let her just,
Yeah, she does.
you know, I give her a few stepping points, and Miss J, what do you want me to do? And then they take it and they go with it. So that already is moving the organization, not only nationally, but globally. People are hearing about the Robeson House.
Right.
We're getting Fox News from Spain coming to the house. So that's really what I see for the future of this organization, is that because Robeson was so global, is that the time for him is now. We've never had a better time to really honor him. 125th,
Yes.
it's coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are going to sing him, we're going to honor him, we're going to shout out all of the things that he has accomplished in his life and how his life is really helping to shape so many young lives and propelling it into the future.
That's great. So other institutions and universities are looking at the partnership that you are doing now with the community. What would you tell them? How could they get started the way you did?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You know, surprisingly, there's not a lot of universities that are doing this, and I'm surprised. I
I
work
think
for
there
People
will
for
be.
People. There will be.
Right.
There will be now. I worked at People for People, and we were right in the heart of Temple University. And while they have an African American Studies department, but the community engagement is something that is really warranted because a lot of these universities are right in the middle. As Ira said, you're in the middle of the community. You're right there. You're a part of it. be a good neighbor. And I'm not saying that Temple isn't, but I'm saying this program is very unique. I would say to find out if the universities have a community engagement department. If not, maybe start to interact, maybe start to develop one. I don't know.
Well, I think that gets at the heart of this. And let me just say, I guess, 3 things. The first is, this has never been needed more than it's needed now.
Yeah.
Right? What we see in our cities, our communities, look what's happening in Philadelphia in terms of what's happening to our youth and gun violence. This is so important. And it's important for democracy here and around the world. Universities have to be engaged. But not only because they have resources, because we're part of an education system that's supposed to educate young people to be citizens. And we need each other to do that. So one thing is, it is the time. It is the time. Second issue is, there are networks that Netter is the head of, and I'm part of often, and play a leading role. And one thing that we can do is utilize those places, those national and local programs like the Philadelphia Higher Education Network for Neighborhood Development, and work with Netter to help build those out. That's one thing we could certainly do. And I guess the other things to do in terms of what should happen is encouraging universities to develop the kind of thing that Janice said, have their young people deeply involved in this work. That's a message. And the other message I would tell universities, and I wanted just about doing this work, is that, and other community groups, is we're always open for those conversations. So they can contact Janice, they can contact me, and when they contact me, they'll contact my brilliant staff who really know how to do these things. And that's one thing that is key to Netter's success, is the brilliant staff. And we have some staff members here, Corey Bowman and Rita Hodges. I want to give them a round of applause. So the issue is, you can come to me, and I probably will not know the answer, but I'll know the people who can find the answer. If you get in touch with either of us, we'll make this happen. We are evangelical, as you can tell, about this work. Evangelical. We think it's the way not only to our future here, but future elsewhere.
That's great. All I can say is I am so thankful that Walnut Hill Community Association is in the boundaries of the Paul Robeson House Museum, and we're in the city of West Philadelphia for the Netter Center. So we are in a great place, and we believe in the partnership, and we work closely with our youth in our area, with the schools in our boundaries as well. So with that, I want to also thank my board members that came out today from Walnut Hill, and everything that Janice and Ira mentioned. Everything is always put on our Walnut Hill website, and we have a wonderful website that gives a wealth of information from the 30th anniversary of the Netter Center and all the activities that will be coming up for that, as well as the 125th birthday celebration of Paul Robeson. Just go to our website, walnuthillca.com, and I want to thank Creative Repute, Niall Livingston, who put up the website for the Walnut Hill Community Association. And many, many, many of our residents and neighbors do go to that website to get insight as far as what is happening in our community. And regardless if it's about the youth, how we can help with the gun violence, how we can help with education, and how we can come closer together, working with Penn and working with Paul Robeson. So I want to thank both of you. This was very interactive. And I want to ask the people that are watching right now if anyone has any questions or if there's any questions from the stream. So right now, if anyone has any questions that they would like to ask Dr. Ira Harkavy or Janice Sykes-Ross, now is your time, because I think I covered everything.
You did.
I think I did.
Let's hear it.
Awesome moderator.
Great job. Great job.
Okay, well then.
You're a natural. You have another career.
Oh, okay, we do have one
Sherry has
question.
a question.
Okay.
I'd like to ask Ira, you mentioned the August Wilson
Yeah.
project here at the Robeson House. Talk a little bit about some of the more interesting things that you've done with community organizations, so that, you know, if anybody's interested, they know, have some idea whether they have a program or have an idea of a program that would be that would fit into.
That's
what
great.
we have in mind.
So that's a great question Sherry Howard asked about what else has Netter done with community organizations. And one thing is that there's an institute that we run, and we have some representatives here for free institute called the Nonprofit Institute. The community organizations and individuals who want to start community organizations can join, can be part of, and we bring in expertise from Penn and the community. So members of the community board, including our chair, Jenny Newkirk, who's an attorney, would come in and teach those classes. It is for free. We've been doing it for how many years? Does anyone from the Netter team know for how many years we've been doing it? For probably 2 decades, I would imagine. And it keeps getting 25, we get demand all year, and we run 2 sessions of 25 institutions all year. We also have activities, as I can see, Ken Norridin here, with the Communities of Faith community, where we'll work with them and work on church programs and programs with mosques and other institutions. We have a program called Nonprofit Connect that helps, in fact, local institutions working with Wharton students to develop greater capacity and work in those areas. We have programs in which we bring in community members to be part of our university-assisted community schools program. So we have evening programs, and we have university-assisted community school night programs in which adults are involved in exercise, sports, GED programs, arts and culture, music, etc. And we have programs that bring people together. We convene community organizations, university, community of faith, and schools together. And very much centered in that work is to help create the kind of partnerships between the school, the community, and the university, in which in 8 sites in this community, we have those kind of partnerships working out of the school building, in which Netter is a catalyst and a partner in those activities. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Great question. Yes.
We have some questions from our Zoom team.
While they're doing that, Ira,
Yes.
could you speak a little bit about the conference that was held in Philadelphia with the urban
Universities
and that they also met here?
came here. So I think this was 2 years ago, right before COVID, in the fall of 2019, I think. The Coalition of Urban Metropolitan Universities came to Philadelphia, came to West Philadelphia. Penn was one of the hosts. I think Drexel was the other host. And they asked us, what should people see? The Paul Robeson House Museum. We brought 30 people from 30 different universities or so. We took a bus here, and they came and they learned what went on. And we did this to see this work and our university-assisted community schools work. And I knew, because I was part of the buzz in the hallways at the meeting, they were talking about that trip to the Paul Robeson House Museum and to, I think it was Paul Robeson High School, was what they saw, and how that was the most impactful event of that entire meeting. So we're also partners in spreading the word and having people see the work and see the extraordinary gem that this cultural resource is. I mean, one of the great things, I mean this, in my career is I was asked to chair this organization. It really is that significant, and I was thrilled to host that and bring people here.
And you're doing a great job, Ira.
Thank you.
You do have a question from someone?
No, they're
Okay.
they just raised their hand.
Okay.
Exactly. It's awesome when you're talking about the organization. So.
That's okay. So we're going to wrap it up then, and now I'm going to turn it over to Janice Sykes-Ross so she can introduce the next segment of this evening.
Great.
I want to thank Ira Harkavy and Janice Sykes-Ross. Let's give
Thank
them one
you,
more
Margaret.
round of applause.
So we're not supposed to, we can take off our. Thank you. All right. I think they did it. All right. So, a little bit of an intervention there, but you guys, first of all, let me say again, thank you to the WPCA board. Let me say thank you to the Robeson staff, Azare Gary, Sophia Weslar, Chris Rogers, everybody knows Chris, and also the volunteers. And these are volunteers that sometimes they have to remind me, Janice, I don't work for you, I'm not staff, I am a volunteer. So everybody, I want to just recognize Sherry Howard, who is one of those volunteers that no matter what time, night or day, she reminds me, I'm not staff, I'm a volunteer. And of course, the incredible Miss Vanoka Michael, that I will not let her retire. I just keep calling her. You guys having a good time? Yeah. All right. So get ready as we're transitioning here. I'm going to move forward. I want to introduce to you Bert Harris Afro Jazz Trio with vocalist Jerry Oliver. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Bert Harris. Has performed with the world beat jazz and blues for more than 40 years. He and his band primarily play jazz from Africa. Did you know there was jazz in Africa? Yes. All right. I didn't know until I met Bert Harris in the jazz trio. But I learned a lot during our Arts in the Parlor, and especially the music from South Africa, jazz composer. They perform with the music of pianist composer Abdullah Ibrahim. I messed up that name. Dollar composer. They perform the music of singer, trumpeter Hugh Masekela, and so many other greats. Music that make you move is always my biggest influence, says Harris, who cites James Brown as being one of his biggest influences. And he's probably one of mine, too. It's why I love African music. So Bert is a little bit under the weather today and could not be here with us. So we have Jocko McNeil substituting for Bert. McNally. Yes. Okay. Jocko McNally. Jocko, are you? Jocko. Raise your hand, Jocko. Okay. So Bert, Bert's big shoulders, Jocko. You ready for this, right? Okay, all right. And let me tell you about our vocalist for this evening, Jerry Oliver. Jerry Oliver is a vocalist whose singing reaches deep down and touches your heart, taking you on a journey to a place inside your soul called Reverie. Reverie, thank you. With an uncanny ability to hold you in rapt attention. Her instrument of voice weaves a lyrical and melodic story that colors the atmosphere with healing hues. Adds the live fluid dynasty of jazz tones from the band, and you become engulfed in a must-hear and must-feel musical mosaic. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jerry Oliver.
Well, good evening, everyone. My first song is going to be Black Nile. Come along with me to a river running free, is known as the Black Nile. Please, won't you take my hand? Let's explore creation's plan along the old Black Nile. My ancestry and history is calling me. I want to see, hey, just how we used to be. So come along with me to a river running free. It's known as the Black Nile. Come along with me to a river running free. It's known as the Black Nile. Please, won't you take my hand? let's explore creation's plan along the old Black Nile. My ancestry and history is calling me. I want to see, hey, just how it used to be. So come along with me to a river running free. It's known as the Black Nile. Black Nile. The pyramids, the pharaohs, the hieroglyphics, the Sahara. Oh, Black Nile, that old Black Nile, Black Nile, Black Nile. Thank you. I think a lot of us in here remember this song, but it's still very appropriate, very pertinent, very current, and very necessary. Trying times is what the world is talking about. We got confusion all over the land. Mother against daughter, father against son. The whole thing has gotten out of hand. But folks wouldn't have to suffer if there was more love for your brother. But these are trying times. We got guns and violence in the city, and it's all around. A whole lot of things that's wrong is going down. I can't understand it from my point of view. I remember somebody said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But then folks wouldn't have to suffer if there was more love. But these are trying times. Yeah. as inhumanity demand. But what you're trying to do to make this a better land, just pick up your tablet, turn on your TV, you'll still see lots of demonstrations for human rights and equality. But folks wouldn't have to suffer if there was more love. But these are trying times, yeah, trying times is what the world is talking about. We got confusion all over the land. Mother against daughter, father against son. The whole thing has gotten out of hand. But remember, folks wouldn't have to suffer if there was more love for your brother. But these are trying times, trying times, trying times. We're living in trying times. Thank you. Did y'all enjoy that? They good? This is a song that Nina Simone sang. It's called I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free. It would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be me. Then you see and agree that every man should be free. I wish I could give all I'm longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I could do. And though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could be like a soar to the sun. I wish I could fly. Oh, I soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I sing, 'cause I know to be free. I wish I could do all the things that I could do. Wish I could speak like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I learned that I could fly. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know, yeah. Then I sing, 'cause I know, yeah. Then I sing, 'cause I know how it feels. I know how it feels. Oh, I know how it feels to be free. Thank you. Okay. Stay by me and give it a nice twist. Something crisp. Yeah. This is a group participation song. So you'll know your part. I won't have to give it to you. Okay. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountains should tumble to the sea. That's right. I won't cry. I won't cry. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand stand by me, stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no I won't, that's right, shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand. Thank you. That's right. Stand by me. I'm gonna hire y'all for the background. Y'all was good. Thank you. One more song.
The online audience is enjoying it. They said thank you for a wonderful event.
Thank you. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Above that shine so bright, the mystery of their fading light that shines upon our caravan. Sleep upon my shoulder as we creep across the sand so I may keep this memory of our caravan. Exciting. You are so inviting, resting in my arms as we thrill to the magic charms of you. Beside me here beneath the blue, my dream of love is coming true. Within our desert caravan. fading light that shines upon our caravan. Sleep upon my shoulder as we creep across the sand so I may keep this memory of our caravan. This is so exciting. You are so inviting, resting in my arms as we thrill to the magic charms of you. Beside me here beneath the blue, our dreams of love are coming true. Within our desert caravan, within our desert caravan, within our desert You all had a good time. We had fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Ira. Thank you, everyone at the Netter Center, everyone from the WPCA, Paul Robeson House Museum. We thank you so much. We offer our extreme gratitude, and thank you, Margaret, for your amazing moderation. And of course, we have to give it up for our amazing performance and entertainment for the night, and our organizer, Jason, for the evening. Can we get a round of applause for you? Yes, Jason, woo! Jason, thank you. And of course, our lovely Zoom audience, thank you so much for joining us. Someone has a question in the audience?
Cape Samba.
Cape Samba. Oh,
C-A-P-E, Cape Samba.
okay. So 2 things. For those of you who asked about how to get connected with volunteering with us, you can either find me, or for those of you who are on Zoom, please follow up to the link I submitted, wphlca@gmail.com. Jason also put a link in there to donate to our organization, so please feel free to drop those coins in there. But last but not least, before you all leave today, you would find a flyer on your seats. This is our save the date. Next year is a big year for us. Give a round of applause for this 125th. So you will be hearing lots of exciting news, emails coming from all of us here, and keep your eyes on those emails. Please continue to stay involved. Thank you so much. And Ira, you want to come up here and say something? Yes, we have an audience.
I just want to say thank you. This couldn't have been a better thing. You have an audience. Don't be shy. I'm not shy. Ever. I just want to say this couldn't have been a better 30th anniversary. It couldn't have been better. I want to thank WPCA and the Paul Robeson House for hosting, and from all of you for being here this evening. It makes me feel so good working with you. It makes me feel so good that we do this work together. And I want to just say that if I had to pick a perfect thing, a perfect evening for a 30th, very few things are perfect. This was it. So thank you all very, very much. And I want to tell you, all of you, that Afro Jazz is now my favorite group of all time. You guys were sensational, and you were a sensational singer. And one thing that made this perfect is that you were perfect. Thanks so much. You were great. You were great. Thanks so much.
With that being said, have a great night and be safe.